Okay, we spent the last couple days adding and subtracting mixed number fractions. Now we're going to move on to multiplying and dividing, and this one's specifically looking at multiplying. So what I would need you to do, if you haven't yet, get this packet from the table up front. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to, and then resume once you have this in front of you. So we're going to start with multiplying fractions. In my opinion, multiplying and dividing is a little easier than adding and subtraction because unlike adding and subtraction, we don't have to find common denominators. We can just use what's given to us. So that makes it somewhat easier, in my opinion. So the first step to doing this is some like to cross reduce. And I'll show you briefly what that looks like today, but my preference is just to reduce later on. So if you want to write both of these things, you can go ahead and pause if I'm ever going too quick. That's a great thing about these videos. So I'll show cross reducing briefly, but the rest of the problems I'm probably just going to reduce more later. So then after we do that, once we decide if we're going to cross reduce or just reduce later, you're going to just multiply the numerator by the other numerator. So you're just going to multiply the numerators and then across, and then you're just going to multiply the denominators. So you just multiply across, going left to right, and then again, I'll have to probably reduce a lot, but even if you cross reduce from the start, you will have to simplify probably most times anyway, which we've practiced before. Simplifying means we're finding a common factor between that they can become smaller of. Okay, so for our first example, let's go ahead and do 8/9 times 3/5. All right, so like I mentioned before, I'm going to show the cross reducing. So just so I have it, I'm going to rewrite it real quick. Cross reducing means we're looking to see if we can reduce any of these from the numerator to denominator. So think to yourself, do you see anything that are factors of each other or multiplies of each other? And you should notice that 3 can go into 9. Okay, so 3 goes into 9, and so this will become 1, and then we divide that 3, and that becomes 3. So that's kind of what cross reducing is. Seeing if it can reduce. These can't reduce those, but cross reducing has to be the two different fractions. You can't reduce here. Okay, so then I would rewrite this multiplying the new numerators, multiplying the new denominators, and I get 8/15. Then I simplify. 8 doesn't go into 15. They don't have any common factors, so this is my final answer. Okay, if I would have just reduced later, again, I'm going to multiply across. 8 times 3 is 24. 9 times 5 is 45. Both of these are divisible by 3. And again, I get 8/15. Okay, so either way, I prefer this way, but if this way helps you out, go for it. All right, next example. 4/3 times 1/2. Okay, I'm gonna ask that you pause the video and see if you can solve this yourself in a moment. The cool thing is when we have improper fractions, we don't have to switch them. We can go ahead and leave them. So go ahead and pause the video and either just multiply across now, reduce later, or see if there's anything you can cross multiply. And then once you get done solving, go ahead and hit play and we'll see if we get the same answer, okay? All right, so I got 2/3. Did you get 2/3? Great. Did you get 4 or 6 maybe? Just have to remember to reduce. Okay, so I did 4 times 1 equals 4, 3 times 2 equals 6, and reduce from there. Real quick, that cross reducing, meaning I'm going to see if any go into each other from the opposite fraction. 1 doesn't go to 3, 2 and 4 do reduce to each other, right? So 2 goes into 4 2 times, and then that leaves us for 1. So then 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 1 is 3. Get the same answer either way. So you decide what works best for you. I won't mandate which way you do it. Okay? Just as long as you get the right answer. Now, so those are when it's just regular fractions, no mixed number. Here we have the improper, it didn't matter. So you can maybe guess to see what we do when we have mixed numbers in our factors that we're multiplying. So what we're going to do is change those mixed numbers to improper fractions, which we've talked about multiple times of how to do that. When we do that, we multiply the denominator times the whole number, then add the numerator. Remember, denominator, numerator. Right? Again, if you need to catch up on these notes before you move on, please pause the video and then just hit resume when you're ready. So then once we do that, we follow the same steps. Okay? We can then cross reduce or just simplify later. Okay? Then we multiply the numerator by the numerator and the denominator by the denominator and simplify if necessary. So go ahead, I'm going to pause the video as well and catch up on those before we do the practice problems. Okay, so the example we're going to do right here is going to be 2 1/5 times 3 1/10. So we're going to change the mixed numbers to improper fractions. Go ahead and write that down. We're going to do that by multiplying the whole numbers in the denominators and then adding numerators. That's step 1. So we multiply, then add. So now we get 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11, times 3 times 10 is 30, plus 1 is 31, over 10. So cross reducing can't happen here anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and multiply across. 11 times 31, 5 times 10. Okay. Remember, if you need to come over to the side and do it, that is okay too. So 11 times 31 is 341. 5 times 10 is 50. Now we should go ahead and make this back to a mixed number. I'm going to add that to our notes up top. And we know the way to change back to mixed number is to go ahead and tip and divide it. So 50 doesn't go into 334, but it does go into it 341 6 times. And I did that quickly because I know 6 times 5 is 30 and add on another 0. So that's going to be 300. And we know our remainder is our numerator. Our divisor is our denominator. So our final answer, once we change this back to a mixed number, is 6 and 41 fiftieths. Okay, so while you're rewriting, I changed both of these to mixed numbers. I multiplied across. I got 341 over 50, tipped and divided to make it back to a mixed number. All right. The next problem we're going to do is 3 3/7 times 1 5/16. Okay, you're going to do this one by yourself, and then like up above, you're going to pause it, solve it, and then hit play, and we'll see if we get the same answer to go over it. Just following the steps up here, so go step by step. Okay, if you hit play, that means you went ahead and solved it. Hopefully you got 4 1/2 like I did before. Let's see how we did. Now, no, I did not do any cross reducing, so if you did it that way, you should still get the same answer. If you didn't get 4 1/2, then your cross reducing probably didn't work out. All right, so first thing we did, change to a mixed number, to improper fractions. So we multiplied and added, got 24 over 7. Multiply and added, got 21 over 16. Okay, give yourself 2 pats in the back if you got this step. If you cross reduce, this is going to be different from here on out. I went ahead and multiplied 24 times 21 here and got 504. I multiplied 16 times 7 here and got 112. I know I need to simplify if necessary by changing back to the mixed number. So I go ahead and tip and divide it. I knew 112 went into 504 4 times. Brought it down, subtracted. My remainder is my numerator, my divisor is my denominator, and then I went ahead and simplified there. So I knew this was half, so I got 4 1/2. All right. If you cross reduce, these could have reduced and these could have reduced and given you smaller numbers, but you still would multiply just across. Multiply across for both numerator and denominator, and simplify then from there on out. Okay, so here, make sure you use your notes, because what you're going to do now is on the back side is this part. You're going to complete this assignment, and it's due at the end of the hour. Okay, before you raise your hand and ask for help, I will tell you to either watch the video again or refer to these notes. Change to improper fractions, multiply it across, reduce for every single one. All right, thank you for working hard. Bye.